Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from episode 98 of Life on the Rocks with your host, Connor Rocques. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is Mr. Mike Moellenkamp. How are you doing today?
Good, and yourself, Connor?
Doing wonderful.
Excellent.
Awesome. For anybody in the city of Greater Sudbury who currently doesn't know Mike, this gentleman is the founder and president of MySDS, as well as Green Lights Environmental. I want to get into this a little bit. We'll start it off. What is MySDS?
MySDS is a safety data sheet management system that I created about 4 years ago to take over where other industries were falling apart in that sense. There are other systems similar, but ours is unlike any of the other ones. It surpasses them in all service levels.
Give us a little bit of context. So what's a safety data sheet?
Safety data sheet is a document that explains the health and safety risks associated with certain chemicals, whether they're dry or solid. They also will talk about what PPE to wear. They'll talk about first aid to provide if someone were to ingest or inhale, depending on it. It'll also have things like transportation of dangerous goods information, composition information, how the chemical's made up. As per Health Canada, it is law that you must have safety data sheets for any chemical that you have in your business or your industrial facility that someone will come into contact with. And it's a safety procedure. It's the best way to protect yourself against any harm.
Talk to me. So isn't it your site, within 15 seconds, you get access to all of your first aid data you need?
It is the fastest system in the world that'll do that. So anywhere you have our system, you will be able to get your first aid information within 15 seconds. You can also get PPE information within 15 seconds.
Have you found your business is growing significantly because of COVID?
Constantly.
People are calling in and they need information?
You got it. The assumption with COVID was that we could buy all of these decontamination systems and hand sanitizers and cleaning surfactants and whatnot, and not have to worry about it. But you still require safety data sheets. Think about a school board that's bringing them into an environment where you have smaller children that have to use these hand sanitizers. We're getting calls constantly to assist with that and train them how to use these things.
What do you think was the hardest part when COVID hit, like to be able to educate these people? Because in a lot of ways that you have so many different products, so many supplies talking about that.
The difficulty was we couldn't go see anyone. And we had to start utilizing Teams and Zoom to assist with our clients and say, look, let's take a look at this hand sanitizer you have. Here's how to dilute it. Here's how to label it, that sort of thing. And here are the safety issues surrounding that. So it goes farther than just the safety data sheet. We provide the training along with that.
Okay, so that makes sense. Walk me through your process a bit. So where do you find companies? So again, they have to have safety data sheets. It's a regulation, it's a rule. Walk me through your process a little bit. So who do you work with specifically? Like, again, it's wide open because everyone needs safety, PPE, things like that.
True. We have clients ranging from the largest mining companies in North America to school boards to dental offices to cities, municipalities. They all find us. We do some marketing, not a lot, but up until this point, they've found us through searches or through references.
Huge. Like a nice referral in. And talk about your software. So you have an actual application that it comes up on your phone?
Yes. Yeah. So our software is proprietary. It's not based on a separate software system. So it's basically hack-free. We have a very, very high level of security that surrounds it. But our system is also any electronic device that has access to the internet. You can take this and use it. So you could be out in the field and have it on your phone.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I want to back it up a little bit. I want to get some more story and context. So what got you into this? So fast forward now, and just for everybody in the audience to know, Mike has over 40 certifications. So that's huge in itself. Most people can't even get 5. So you have like 40 of them, but should promote for you on that. But what got you into this in the first place?
It was a company I worked for close to 20 years ago that I got hired to do A and was asked to do B. And it happened to be health and safety. So I started to dive into it. And my introduction to health and safety was the company's policies and procedure manual, which was about 5 binders tall, and it was just shoved across the desk and said, learn everything. So I did, and I took it a few steps further, and that's when my personal training began. I just thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I better know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so that's where that all started. My father was a health and safety rep for Inco a long time ago, so kind of following in his footsteps a bit. But when I came back to Sudbury 10 years ago to start Green Lights Environmental, we wanted to fill that gap. There were all kinds of companies providing health and safety, but no one provided numerous things that they looked at us and said, look, no one else does this, can you? And that became our business model. We'll just do everything that no one else does.
Huge.
That's where MySDS came in. I was using at the time 2 or 3 of the world's top safety data sheet libraries. And it just struck me as odd that I was paying all this money every week to use these, and I was doing all the work.
Right.
I just used their libraries. So clients of ours said, look, why don't you turn that around, because we need a better way to do this. So we sat down, Krista and I, and we redesigned the wheel.
That's huge. And I want to back it up too. So you also have experience, like you do training too,
yes.
right? So you'll go into companies, like even for the audience out there, you work with the military.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of context into some of the training you do with these teams and helping educate. Give us a little bit of background on that.
Well, we're the premier WMIS training providers in Northern Ontario. So we'll go and train anything from WMIS to spill response. Large and small spill. We'll do transportation of dangerous goods training. We do hazmat training of all sorts. So we go everywhere. We base all of the training on the company, not just on a generic. Here's a generic spill response for someone with a 200-liter drum of fuel. The military will tell us, here's what we need to do. So we create those specialty training sessions.
Walk us through that. Like, how is it training in the military? Like, that's remarkable in itself.
They're the only people that when I say you have a 5-minute break, they're bang on time.
Right. Hey, dude, that's it.
Yeah. It's intimidating. You know, you have some pretty unique professionals when you're teaching them, and they're there for one reason only, and they're pretty driven. So heaven forbid the course is boring.
Yeah.
So you need to keep them involved. But that's right across the board, no matter where we go. So we have a very unique way of doing it.
How do you give us a little bit of your process too? And you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You can tell you got a good personality. It's not like you think of the shop teacher coming in and it's cut and dry, but I could see you can kind of spice it up.
We make it personal. So I've been to many training sessions myself, obviously, and it's slide after slide after slide, and by about the 10th slide, I'm trying to figure out how to get more caffeine in me to stay alive. But what we do is put the slide up for information, and then I'll talk, and I'll make it real and bring them experiences from pull experiences from what they've done, and we'll utilize their stories, and I can bring the information into that.
100%.
Then it makes a lot of sense to them.
No, then it's live. Yeah. Even when I talk, I know we were talking before, you said like on one of the trainings you had to do, you were going into a tunnel, like you had to crawl through a tunnel. It was like a safety training. Talk about
that was the most interesting confined space training I've ever done, and I was being taught this, where we went into small crafted tunnels, and big enough just for me and my pack, but to get in it I had to remove everything, get in, reassess, resuit up, and go find this dummy that was in there at about 200 pounds. Find the dummy through these tunnels and trapdoors. It was dark, it was full of smoke, so I couldn't see anything, and then back myself out with the dummy as a rescue, take off my equipment, get the dummy out, and so an hour later.
That's crazy though, and then the exhaustion of it, just trying to get in there, and then the adrenaline.
Best weight loss program out there.
There it is. I like that. A couple of things. So I want to talk about cutting gears a little bit. What do you think is the hardest part about educating people on safety? And again, like we said, spicing it up.
It's changing old beliefs. You know, you have a lot of people that are still of the mindset that it hasn't happened yet. I'm fine. I don't need to do these things. And the other side of it is everyone in the safety industry knows that we need to change how ownership and how presidents, CEOs look at training. And it is not an expense, right? It is an investment. And we have a hard time getting that point across to certain individuals where they'll look at it and, it is X, this is how much it costs to do this. And they'll look at that as a cost. And it isn't a cost, it's an investment. And I can probably easily say 90% of the people who've said no have come back to us within 6-7 months and said, yeah, maybe we better do that. Something just happened. And says, yeah, well, we knew that would happen eventually. So yeah, now we'll come in and do it. It's after the fact, but at least it's being done.
Well, I mean, and if you look at it, you look at a small investment and upwards of having to pay a liability 40, 50 to 100 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So like, walk me through that, because that's what you see a lot of the time.
The fines for non-compliance in many safety areas can surpass millions of dollars, right? Depending on what the severity of the incident. So death would be obviously the most severe, and all of a sudden everything follows suit. Where we come in is we prevent that. And with MySDS, works the same way. It was designed for one thing and one thing only, is to prevent injury. And that's our goal, is if we can get that call back, a year, 2 years from now, and we get them all the time from our clients saying, am I ever glad we've done this? So-and-so just had an inhalation issue, and we immediately refer to the safety data sheet, and he's alive. And that makes us say, okay, we need to just keep on going.
Totally. Keep the process going.
Yeah.
Like I've heard stories and bad things about someone throwing chemicals down in the mine and they're ingesting it. You're sick for 3 days. I mean, it could be fatal. There's a lot of things that I think people. I like the approach you bring, where it's coming in. You want to use the experience and relate to them, and the story creates the picture in the mind.
Yeah.
And I think something you've probably seen, like when you started in your career, you look at it now from probably safety data sheets and the booklets to where it's digital. How have you seen everything shift over the last 25 years?
I think it's getting better. The issue that we keep having with everything being digital is it allows someone just to check off the box. So if you have 20 employees that need X type of training, you can pay someone like ourselves or other companies to come in and give you hands-on quality training. Or you can pay $8 and get it done online. 20 minutes later, check off the box, no one knows what's going on. Right? It's your typical person who's filling your propane tank that just had 45 minutes of online training.
Right. Yeah, and then something. It's always until something happens.
You got it.
In that sense.
Digital has brought out a lot of training options, but they're not necessarily the best. They are good in the sense that they do save time, I will agree, and they are compact. You can take digital anywhere and have training done. But if we're in person, it's something that you're going to walk away with knowledge. So we base it on a percentage. If I take online training, and it's not my own percentage, this is a proven percentage, that I'll retain 20% of what I watch.
100%.
When I'm live, you'll walk away with 80 to 90%.
It's much more engaging.
Yeah.
So something I want to ask, I think it's super important, is working with these teams. I mean, you're working with, again, a diverse group of individuals from the military, and let's be honest, you have some people have the old school mentality, the new school. How do you relate to those people? How do you stay fluid?
You have to, again, it's just dealing with the personality. If I have someone that has an old school mentality about health and safety and just wants to kind of move forward without having to worry about it, then I'll work with that personality, but I will get them to see the positive side of the training through that. So it's like yourself, right? You're going to talk to 10 different people today, and no conversation will be the same.
100%.
Yeah.
I know the one thing I like to do, like the one thing as I get more invested in just dealing with people, is you just start looking at the patterns. Yeah. I'm looking at the behavioral pattern. I'm like, okay, this guy's a little bit straight up, and you kind of got to stay fluid.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've done in your life that have kind of contributed to your personal development outside of just the safety sphere?
I think it's just seeing the other side of things. It's I've traveled to remote sites. I've been to big cities training. You come back with a better appreciation of how other companies work, right? So we know what our inner workings are and the challenges we face, and how we could be conceived as a bigger company that's moving forward very quickly. Where now, when other companies are approaching me saying, Mike, we'd like to partner up, I understand now. I can see where they're coming from, because we do it, right? So.
it's one of those things that you got a big enough team where you guys, the thing that gets me going, so even from Surrey, people are like, well, they're a Surrey-based company, but I mean, if you like, well, how do we say it? What's the words? It's the fastest. You guys are the.
We are the fastest to get to your first aid.
That's what it is.
We also have a much different system. Most systems out there, I would almost say all systems, when you log into your account for safety data sheets, you will look at a library that you have created, that you had to pay someone in your team to do. So they had to spend hours and hours and hours doing this. If they don't have the proper training, then you could have the incorrect safety data sheets posted. The other thing is everything else that comes in the building from that day on also has to be put on there, and things change.
Totally.
So our team takes all of that away and says, look, pay your people for what they're paid to do. We'll take over that part. And we can guarantee compliance. As long as you provide me with the information,
that's huge.
We keep you compliant. Our system also is one of the only ones that has what we call a safety card, and it's at a glance. Not everyone underground on a small phone or wherever they may be, on a small phone is going to start paging through or scrolling through a 16 section document trying to find the information. They're just going to eventually give up.
Totally.
So what we've done is you can just touch that product and it will bring up a snapshot of that safety data sheet, and it tells you instantly, what are my hazards? What PPE do I need to wear?
Right.
So worst case scenario, you've covered that and you've protected them.
Totally. That's huge. And I want everybody in the audience to let you guys know they work nationwide. So it's that quick, super fast, super effective. Something what do you think is probably one of the hardest part of your jobs?
Making sure that customer understands that every single thing in your facility needs to be listed and sent to us. Now, we do have teams that can go on site. We do it quite a bit for mining. They'll call us in to perform a chemical audit on their site, and we go fence to fence, top to bottom, and find everything. So we do provide the training to the client that says, no, you know what, we'll just provide you with our list, but we provide that. Don't forget these 55 other things that you didn't think you had to send us.
No, 100%. No, that's actually funny. Yeah, then you probably you get just diversity.
Oh yes, we've had some huge companies jump on board and provide us with 100 items where I have to make that call and saying, okay, let's go through this again, because there's no way you've probably got 100 in your office, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, yes, you're right here. The other 900 we didn't know about.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
It is a lot of time, but the effort of doing this is compliance.
Totally. Yeah. Safety and compliance, I like that.
Yeah.
What's your approach to training your team to make sure your team, again, follows those same guidelines, rules, and they represent the company?
Each team member that comes on board goes through the exact same training process. We don't cut them loose on their own account until we are comfortable that they know the procedure, they know their regulations, they know our system in and out. There's only one way to do it. So we've put in many self-check systems within there so that they can't move to the next screen without making sure all the boxes are filled with the information. Also, we look for people that are passionate about doing this, because it takes a special individual to sit there all day looking at safety data sheets and gathering information. But it's if you like to play Where's Waldo, you'll
hey, that makes it good on that side.
You'll find it. Yeah.
Oh, I want to change gears. So again, you got MySDS and then Green Lights Environmental. So yes. I know we've touched on MySDS, safety data sheets. Give us a little bit of context on Green Lights Environmental. What is that? Do they work in conjunction? Talk to me about that.
They do. Green Lights has been around for just over 10 years. We're in our 11th year now. When it started, like I said, I designed it to be a company that does what no one else wants to do. So we specialize in very, very difficult to handle chemicals. We do a lot of cyanide work. We do a lot of auditing. So we'll go into companies, they'll ask for a chemical audit, they'll ask for an health and safety audit of some sort. We provide a lot of auditing services. We do that for school boards across Northern Ontario as well, where the school boards have been non-compliant for a very, very long time. So in the health and safety aspect in the shops or in the science labs, and we specialize in the science labs, we provide services clean across Northern Ontario to do these things.
Oh, that's crazy. That's actually really good. I kind of want to switch gears again. This is backing up more generalized. So when you look back on your career, did you ever think you were going to be an entrepreneur?
No. I do know that you have those two people on your shoulder all the time, and you're hired to do a job by your employer, and that little guy says do the best you can, while this guy says there's a better way.
Totally.
So I have this guy who's a little bit bigger than that guy.
What was the breakthrough for you to make that leap of faith and start a company?
I got a call from a mining company here in Sudbury through a friend of a friend of a friend sort of thing. And she said, listen, I hear you're the guy that'll figure something out. Here's my problem. I need a solution. So it was disposal of a specific compressed gas, and it took me about 6 or 7 months to design a system to dispose of it. And when I did, then off it went. So we now receive that from across Canada. And
you look at it like 11 years. You're going on your 11th year, and Mike's the guy to call when it comes to safety. Like that, if I need to call somebody, you're the guy I'm going to call, which is huge. Final answer. I like that. No, but going back to the entrepreneur side of it. So like, what do you think? Like again, it's not the same mentality as when you're working a job, and then again you're working with companies. Like, walk me through your process a little bit. Like, what keeps you fired up and moving forward?
Well, just knowing that we are making a difference, and knowing that there are so many voids in health and safety that we can fill, we can provide those solutions. It's been going on into the 11th year of enjoying waking up in the morning and going to work because you want to get things done. And when we're out there and I see, I haven't been to this certain mine site in 8 months to a year, and I get there and people still know my name because of what we've done for them, that's when I know we're heading in the right direction. When people get onto the MySDS system and we're out somewhere getting fuel or at a restaurant or in the grocery store, and somebody sees the MySDS logo and says, that's fantastic, it saved my brother last week, that makes us say, okay, you know what, we need to stop eating and go back to work.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
What do you do in those moments? Because as an entrepreneur, it's a risky spot. What do you do if you have that day where you're taking bullets? Like, how do you get yourself over that hurdle and persevere?
Nothing's personal. No one says no because they don't want to deal with Mike. People say no because they don't understand that what you need this, or they say no because there's a price tag involved. So I don't take anything personally. It's difficult to walk away when they had to have something done, and they're going to think about it. And you're driving back from Thunder Bay and you have 12 hours to think. Hope nothing happens, because you have to have this. So what do? How do I convince them that they need to do this? And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, they convince themselves when the stats come in that one of the employees had an issue or an incident or an accident, and now they go, should have had you back, right?
No, 100%.
But just don't take it personally and keep moving. There are thousands of potential clients out there that need your help.
You're right. What's your advice to upcoming entrepreneurs in the younger generation?
Don't take no for an answer. Just keep moving forward. There's always a way.
100%.
Yeah, we've been told with MySDS specifically. Well, when green lights started, we were told that we'd never get into certain places. We would never become this. The industry is saturated with this and this, and we've surpassed all of those people. MySDS, we were told that you have 3 or 4 other systems that are worldwide. They're hundreds of times larger than you. This will never work. And within 6 months, we were taking their clients.
I love it, because they miss out, and then even though you are a big company, that you're able to penetrate and push through.
Yep, and the growth through MySDS has been unbelievable. It continues on a daily basis. There's growth. It's measurable and it's trackable.
That's huge. No, that's really good. So something I like to talk about, I'm passionate about, when the current education system in a lot of ways is, in my sense, and please don't take it the wrong way, is outdated. In a lot of ways, the way they teach, it's not interactive, and it's usually the teacher that makes the experience, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, so if I'm an upcoming student and I'm sitting there and I think, well, should I go to university, college? You don't know. If they don't have a plan, what would your advice be to that student?
Go do something you like to do.
Right.
If you don't know what you want to do in college or university, jump into the workforce, and don't say no to being the bricklayer or the person who's going to shovel the ditch for the next 6 months, right? We need those people. Those people built built Canada, and we still need those people. And eventually you'll figure it out. I went to school for something that I spent 2 years taking it. The day I graduated, it was outdated.
Damn.
Never worked in the industry a day, but
right.
Yeah, it's just, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I thought that's what I'll do. But now, the scariest thing was leaving the security of a full-time job,
right,
and starting on our own. The good thing is it took about a week to understand that we did the right thing.
You're right. No, 100%. And that's the thing, as entrepreneurs, I always say we need control, right? Because you see all the things that are going wrong in an organization, you're looking at it. Like, how has that been a benefit to you and just your lifestyle and getting to have the freedom?
With the freedom now.
Yeah.
Initially, the first 3 or 4 years, it was 2 of us. So it was, 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days, as you know. And that's gotten a little better with maybe 6 days a week and 12-hour days. And all the kids are out of the house, so we're saving money on food, which is huge. But no, you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. If I knew then what I know now, I'd have done this 30 years ago, right? 100%. But it is what it is. Things happen for a reason, and now we're here to help.
Absolutely. If you could look back at your younger self, let's say that young stud coming out, what would you tell that person?
Get a haircut and go take a health and safety course.
There it is, just like that. Honestly, Mike, I want to say you've done an exceptional job. I mean, just looking at the resume and what you bring to the table. Anybody, when it comes to health and safety, this is the gentleman, Mike Moellenkamp. Check out MySDS. Is it MySDS.com?
MySDS.ca.
Sorry, I was going wide. I was thinking big scale. Even I know
there you go.
Which it is anyway.
Yeah.
But guys, this is the guy for safety. Okay, so MySDS safety data sheets. Check into your company right now. I want to close this off, honestly. Just thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Thank you.